I voted top 5 player. I have him 4th. I can give you my rankings if you want, but we don't have to go that far. Okay, and I know this is going to really upset people, but I promise I mean this as a positive thing for the Celtics. I have Jokic number 1. I have Luka 2. I have Giannis 3, and I have Tatum 4th.
Yeah.
Tatum still has
You should be, by the way, if you're listening and you're upset by that, you should be upset about that. You have Luka over Tatum.
Doncic is the best player on the court.
I do, but let me say it this way, okay? Because this is how I truly feel. After watching these finals with Tatum, I don't think Luka was the best player on the floor the entire finals, but I don't think Jayson Tatum was either. And I think we would all agree with that.
I do agree with that.
It was a finals performance where it was truly a team effort. Guys being like, it's my turn now for this half. It's my turn now for this half. I'm going to flex out on defense. I'm going to be Kristaps Porzingis and put up 20 and a half when I've been sitting for over a month. It was just an unusual final series. For Jayson Tatum, I still believe that he has a different level to go to. I don't say that as a negative thing. I say that he's a champion. Nobody can take that away from him. I'm very happy for him. The other day I said he's the Celtic I'm happiest for. I don't think he's done. I think we're going to see something different from him. We can get the specifics of his game about, his mid-range game and some of what he can do better in the paint. And he's a great defender these days, so I'm not even going to touch that side of it. But, yeah, I have him as a top 5 player. As we sit here today, a year from today, I fully expect him to be a top 3 player. He will definitively be a top 3 player.
Just not right now.
Just not today.
And he's still worse than Luka.
I don't know if it's worse than.
Well, I mean, again, if you're ranking them, one player is worse than the other. He's worse than Luka, according to your rankings. No? Is that an unfair way to say it, Arkan?
Well, we're talking about individuals, right?
Yeah.
And I understand Luka got exposed big time for both his lack of conditioning and his lack of defensive abilities or just, motor on defense. He still averaged 29 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds during this year's playoff. Mm-hmm. Overall, he shot 45%. Individually, what he's able to do offensively, I believe, still makes up for all the deficits, the flaws, and what he has to work on in other parts of his game, and particularly defensively. Luka's only 25. And I think we
Tatum's
missed that
26.
Exactly. Tatum's 26. When I look at this list and I talk about what I expect from Tatum and the Celtics over the next couple of years, Jokic and Giannis are both 29 years old. They're both moving into a different stage of their career. Tatum's got seasons and seasons to go. I really think he's going to go to a different level, which is the best thing you can be looking forward to when you're coming off a few days after a Celtics championship.
Okay. So Mego has Tatum 4th. Give me the list again. Jokic, Doncic, Giannis. Is that what you said?
Yes, and then Tatum.
And then Tatum. Okay. Arkan, how'd you vote?
I put him top 3. I put Jokic, Giannis, Tatum. I put Doncic below him. I put Gilgeous-Alexander below him. And I toyed with the idea of having Giannis below him, too, because despite the fact that Giannis puts up better numbers and I think is just a little bit better of a scorer and rebounder, he's not available. I mean, this is another year where you see him get injured and you see him not able to go out there and help his team in the playoffs. You saw that last year when they lost to Miami, all the games that he missed there. It's something that's becoming a problem with him. Same way with Embiid and, some of these other guys who disappear at the end of seasons because they break down. And one thing you have to say about Jayson Tatum that transcends all the other statistics and all the other defense, offense, everything else. He was out there. He was out there every single game. He didn't play great in all those games. His shot was way off in a lot of those games, and I think it is a little alarming that his three-point shooting took such a big hit this year. But I couldn't put Luka ahead of him. I couldn't put Gilgeous-Alexander ahead of him. I have Giannis ahead of him. I have Jokic ahead of him, but I think that's it. I think right now, the way it's all sort of shaken out, he could even climb into the top 2. I think that's possible this upcoming year. But right now, I have him top 3.
Let me rephrase the question, because here's how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting your team. Who are you going with over Tatum? I have one guy. And I thought about Giannis, but so Arkan and I are pretty close, because it sounded like you almost put Tatum ahead of Giannis. I will put Tatum ahead of Giannis. I won't put him 1. If he was finals MVP, I would have put him 1. And Mego, you pointed this out before the finals. You were right. I can't. When he wasn't even the best player on his own team, in 2 straight rounds, the Eastern Conference Final and the NBA Final, I can't put you number 1, but I'll put you right there. If I'm starting a team, I think it goes Jokic and then Tatum. I am not starting my team with Doncic over Tatum. I am not starting my team with Giannis, and that one's close, but I'm not starting my team with Giannis over Tatum. I know Tatum struggled to shoot in the postseason. He's a much better shooter than Giannis.
And he was out there.
I wouldn't take, well, that too. I wouldn't take Gilgeous-Alexander. You know, I'm looking at, you sent the top 100 that the Ringer came out with their list. I'm sure there's a million lists like this today. I heard Gresham Fourier talking about this on my drive-in. They have Wembanyama ahead of him, which, like, maybe, like, let me see another year of Wembanyama, and then I'll just wait until he actually wins something, does something important on a big stage, then come talk to me. But, like, he had a phenomenal rookie year. Phenomenal. I'm not putting him ahead of Tatum. I'm not taking him before Jayson Tatum. There's one guy. And so I also have Tatum in the top 3. I have him number 2 if you want to rank it out, which means we go 2, 3, 4. We all agree he's a top 5 player, easily in the top 10. None of us have him number 1. So you can vote. How does Jayson Tatum stack up with the rest of the league? Mego, would you, if I rephrase the question, and it is you're starting your team, would you answer any differently, or is it the same for you?
Yes, definitely. And that's why I pointed out the ages. I mean, I guess, like, I was looking through particularly how these guys performed in the playoffs this year, how they performed during their championship runs, if you're someone like Jokic or Giannis. And you pointed out Giannis, like, he's not a great shooter compared to Tatum, but when he was in that finals run, he shot 57% from the field in those finals. Like, he finished with 30 points, 5 assists, 13 rebounds. He was extremely dominant in that finals against the Suns. He had a couple games where he was 40-plus points. I mean, if Tatum did that here, everybody would be like, okay, is it Tatum or Bird? Like John in the car in the Twitch chat. They'd be saying, Arkin, you got to pick one. Tatum or Bird, who are you taking? And so I understand people, like, hear me talk like this, and maybe they feel like I'm underrating Tatum, and I really don't mean to do that.
You hate him.
What I'm saying is, I think the best with Jayson Tatum is yet to come. I think the best for someone like Giannis is probably in the rear view. And maybe even for Jokic, we'll see. I think Jokic is amazing. Luka Doncic, I don't know. Like, he might have some real problems. He might have some issues with his team. He might have some issues with his effort. He might have issues with coaches in the future. That's a wild card. So if I was going to sit here and pick today, yeah, it would probably be between Jokic and Jayson Tatum.
Arkan, would you answer any different? By the way, I'm looking at these Ringer rankings. They have Jaylen Brown all the way down at 38, which that seems harsh. That's after Sabonis.
To build a team around?
I don't know.
He's like 15 in their top 100 that just put out today, so I don't know.
I'm sorry. The thing you sent is a trade. I'm sorry. This is trade value, so maybe his contract is working against him. Maybe I understand that more now, looking at the way they have that listed. But you said they had him 15th? Like, that sounds... honestly maybe low, but that sounds much more accurate. So, this is trade value. His contract probably works against him.
The Ringer Top 100 had all of the starting 5 of the Celtics in the top 50. Jalen was 15, Tatum was 5, White 37, Holiday 38, Porzingis 42, and Al Horford was 100. So all 5 in the sixth man were in the top 100, and all 5 were in the top 50, which seems good to have your entire starting 5 in the top 50 of NBA players. But I think that even if you had asked it that way, I would have answered the same way. I would have answered the same: Jokic first, followed by Giannis, and then Tatum.
Okay, so you can vote at Jones and Mego up now on Twitter. Again, where does Jayson Tatum rank? Is he a top player in the league? Not a lot of votes for that. Is he top 3? Is he top 5? Is he top 10? Have at it there. I can't imagine anybody's ranking him outside the top 10 now that he's won a championship. But Tatum wants to know, what are we going to say now? I guess this is what we're saying now about Jayson Tatum. Zach Lowe wants us to stop discussing it. I don't think that's the time to do that. So, again, you can vote there. You can weigh in on the phone, 617-779-7937.